And so we would have come now to the end of our session on the virtual training and assessment audit, candidate audit in particular. And just to share with you that these are the persons that you contact in the Western Zone in Jamaica, responsible for syllabus and curriculum development. And that's the department from which these ladies are from. And these are our contact details, looking at the different products and services for implementation of which CVQ is an important feature, which my name being there, Linda Stewart Doman, having responsibility for that program and product in particular, as well as all technical offerings. Latoya Wedderburn Rose, Science and Mathematics. Claudia Jack, Business and IT. Norlet Leslie Year, the Humanities, focusing on languages and so on. And then Miss Jolene Williams, responsible as Senior Manager. And the rest of the team, Nadine Bell Morgan, part of our administration, Mrs. Debian Hall Pottinger, they're present here with us, by the way. We have Debian Hall Pottinger, Senior, in terms of our administrative staff. We have Jeanette Clacken, who's our instructional designer, as you would have heard her. Florette Williams, Mrs. Content Administrator. We have Nordia War, a part of our administration. With us and joining us, we have Kiana Adams, not in the department, the part of the council staff, and she's marketing officer from our marketing and communications department in this session as well. And we have Michelle McIntosh McCarthy, one of our measurement and evaluation officers and managers, from the educational development and production department. And we also may have other representatives that I'm not sure if came in after. And so we have an able team complementing this session here this morning. And with that, we now open the floor for questions, answers, well, possible answers. And if we don't know it, we'll try and find it and get it to you at another time and comments. Colleagues?
Thank you very much, Linda. I am sure that our audience was overwhelmed with information from what I've seen in the chat. It seems so. I was able to answer a few questions in the chat, but now I'm going to ask you, if you need further clarity, to just raise your hand, and I will try as best as possible to answer those questions.
Okay, students, we invite you to raise your hand so that we can open your microphone and answer your question. All right, thanks. Aisha, go ahead with your question. You may unmute.
I didn't really understand what CVQ was all about. I was a little bit confused about it. I didn't get it.
All right, thanks for that.
Are you currently a CVQ student?
Go ahead, Aisha.
Like I said, I didn't understand what CVQ was about, and I was a little bit confused. I didn't quite get it, like what was like, you know.
Which territory, and have you started any implementation?
I think the portfolio. I'm still learning about the portfolio.
Oh, okay. Which territory, may I ask?
I'm not quite sure.
Which country are you from? Which country are you from?
I'm from Barbados.
Okay. All right. So you can share your comments in the chat to Michelle, so she can reach out to you, so she can provide some information as to, or sensitize you as to the CVQ.
No problem.
Okay, great.
All right, any other question?
So we have Jarvis. Go ahead, Jarvis. Okay. Okay. Raphael, your mic is open, so go ahead.
I have a question. I'm a bit confused because of all the information at once.
Yes.
I'm from Barbados. I'm doing the portfolio, and um, you said those audit dates. The one for Barbados 26, 28. I am right now. I'm sure if I'm finished or not, and I don't know if
Okay, let me see if I can clarify that for you. The audit dates that were shared are for the 2019-2020 cohort of students. We are aware that the 2020 to 2021 students were or are unable to finish their assessments. And so we have agreed with the Ministry of Education and the CVQ Council to have audits for the 2019-2020 students who we are aware are finished with their assessment and external verification. Does that cover your concern?
I bet yes.
Is there anything else?
All right, thank you. Doesn't appear to have any other. Jacqueline, go ahead.
Okay, good morning. I logged in a bit late, so I'm not sure as to what exactly is required of this present cohort of students doing their cosmetology final examination. Could you just shed some light on that for me? I heard something about portfolio. I am not sure exactly what is to be done.
All right, may I ask which territory you're from?
I'm from Jamaica.
And your students are CVQ or CXC students?
They are CVQ.
And you have been... I was about to ask if this is your first audit.
No, this has not been my first audit, but since the COVID, I realized that things have changed. And we have not been able to get an update from the institutional level as to what is going to happen with those students.
Which school you said? Which school?
I said I was from Jamaica territory.
Okay. I know you're from Jamaica, but in order for us to help you, well, I am the auditor for Jamaica.
Okay, you want to know
I'm seeking to find out which institution because I know what the Ministry of Education.
I'm from Cambridge High School.
Cambridge High School.
St. James.
Okay, and so we can talk off air because I'm familiar with the education officer that has responsibility for your area.
Okay.
And I know too that a number of communique would have been sent out about the e-portfolio. You were not in terms of the plan, having the students have not done any portfolio because whether or not the e-portfolio was supposed to be uploaded, a portfolio would be the requirement in terms of the end product. You're not aware of the end product?
I was not made aware of that. I have been in contact with the exam coordinator who has direct responsibility for those areas. And the last time we spoke was last week, and I was told that something is to be sent to the school. It's not there yet.
All right. So what have the students been doing?
Well, they have been doing their regular classes. They have been uploading their practicals, some of their practicals to the Google Classroom. And as we know that there are issues with internet and devices and so on. So many of them are not able to upload what they have done to the system.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. So provide your information in the chat. You can send it to Michelle. Michelle McIntosh McCarthy. Just search, just put your contact. your school, and your email, telephone contact, name, and school.
Okay.
All right?
We'll
Thank you for the information.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline. We are moving on to the next person. Zara, you may go ahead.
Hi, Miss.
Hi.
The question I wanted to ask is, how would I know the time you'll be calling during the period?
Okay, if your school was selected, because we only audit a sample of schools, at least 25% of the CVQ population in each territory. And so your school will be notified whether or not they will be audited, and the responsibility lies with your principal and teachers to contact you to ensure that you are ready for the audit. So you will be told by your head of institution and or teacher if you will be selected for the interview. Does that answer your question?
Zara, does that answer your question? All right, not hearing from Zara. So I'm gonna lower her hand. It should. We'll take Martha. Go ahead, Martha.
Good morning, everyone. Mrs. Doman, you mentioned that the students can add this training to their professional development. Is that the resume you're speaking to in regards of? They can put it on their resume?
Yes, they can put it on their resume as well as they can put it in their portfolio.
Oh, correct. Okay. All right. Thank you there.
All right. Annette Brown Welsh. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I am from Jamaica, Eltham High School to be exact. Read the portfolio and all these changes. Unfortunately, my school has no information to pass on. The coordinator, the principal, I've been trying to get information. There's no information that they have to pass on. So I'm wondering.
CVQ or NVQ?
CVQ.
What's the name of the school?
Eltham High.
What's the program?
Cosmetology and barbering.
And they're doing the CVQ this year certification?
Yes.
Okay. The same thing I'll ask you to do as I reach out to the ministry persons.
Okay, so I should
send to Michelle McCarthy.
Your information in the chat.
Hold on. Michelle McCarthy?
Yeah.
Just search in the chat and you'll see my name.
Okay. Okay. Because there's the portfolio and all of that. I have no, there's no information. We were told that there should be a portfolio, but that's it.
Okay, but nothing, and they have exams this year?
Yes, and there's nothing at all. So.
Okay. All right.
I will wait about or anything. I have no idea.
And so, okay, so we'll find out what is happening.
Okay. Thanks much.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we have a few more questions. Hands up, but I just want to take this question from the chat. Is CVQ now mandatory for all schools as an exit exam, or is it the decision of the principal as to whether he wants to offer this exam?
Right, so it is not mandatory. It is a decision of the principal whether or not he or she wants to register the school to do CVQ.
All right. Great. Shanika Johnson, go ahead, please. You may unmute, Shanika.
Thank you so much. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, students. I'm just querying the fact that for food and drink service, the students would have completed all the units, but on the certification that they would have received at the end of their program, they're only receiving competencies for 3 units. How is it that this is going to be addressed by CXC?
Okay.
You want me to take that, colleague?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. That has been a recurring issue. In fact, if you were here last Friday, you'd have heard me speaking about how Kanta, the governance of Kanta, how it operates. We are not responsible for that aspect, but we can only escalate the matter to Kanta. In our last meeting, Michelle, you can wrap me up, we actually raised the issue of the units.
Yes.
For Kanta to shed some more light and for the students to get those additional areas. As a matter of fact, we had asked that area be retired until it is fixed. However, we know that Jamaica still is doing that particular program. So the most we can say is that although the units, the number of units are not allocated presently on the platform for the council in order to guarantee the full qual plan, the certification at least, that yes, they get big given the statement of competency, but those additional units can claim, competencies can be claimed on the NVQJ side. But we're aware of the issue. It has been happening since 2014 and it has not yet been cleared. So we are aware. But again, we just have to say we apologize for what has happened, but that we will continue to speak to Kanta. Now we have someone who has taken those issues, our director of operations, to speak about it because they understand the urgency of the matter. We trust that we'll have more ground and we'll be able to update you further, at least in another webinar of this nature, or update you through your local registrar. Again, we are sorry for the inconvenience caused, but CXC is just the ambit of this student certification, being our examination board responsible for in-school population, but in terms of standards, quality assurance, guiding in terms of those particular standards and the allowance and accommodation for approval for those additional competencies come from Kanta. So we will escalate the matter again. You're Michelle for our internal meeting again about this that keeps
no problem.
Every session. Thank you very much for raising it, Madam.
All right, I want to answer a question that I saw in the chat. I did respond to the person privately, but just for clarification, there are some territories who were able to do their 2020 audits. However, there were others who were not able to do so. And so we have made arrangements with the territories to do either the 2020 audits this year, if they're not ready for the 2021, or to do a combination of both 2020 and 2021. So it depends on the situation in the specific territories and the agreement that we have made with the Ministry of Education and the National Training Agency.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm just speaking some of the ministry counterparts while we were there talking about the cosmetology part from the areas from Elsam as well as
so far so good.
As what's the other? Elsam, and there were 2 schools, Cambridge. I was just told that the areas that the students are doing are with the NVQ. So that is why you wouldn't have been told about the portfolio. So even though you're doing an service, I was told that it's NVQJ, you're doing cosmetology and barbering because the schools did not go for the CVQ this year under the council.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Winston, you may go ahead.
Hey, calling from Trinidad here. We see that Trinidad is down for August 16th to the 20th. The question is, when will students get their final results after the audit? Because most institutions are taking the level 2 would have by then most likely closed off in selecting the candidates for the level 2 programs.
Okay, so the audits, the 2020 audits were done last year, August, and those results would have been sent out, I believe, in October of that year.
But the audit this year, the 2021 audit.
So a similar pattern for this year as well. We're expecting that the results will be sent out by about October.
So the question is, if students would get results in October, how would that affect them if they are seeking to do the level 2 in another institution which would have closed off by September?
Well, I am not sure if some special allowance can be made in light of the pandemic, because the only reason why the results are so late is because of the date of the audit. And the date of the audit is because candidates were not ready or would not have been ready prior to those dates. So we could perhaps speak to have consultation with the Ministry of Education and the National Training Agency to see what allowances can be made to address that.
Yeah, because it would put students at a significant disadvantage if their school is selected and ours has been, and they're unable to apply for level 2 because they're still awaiting results.
Yes, I understand. So that is a concern that I'm going to note, and when we meet for the audit, we could discuss that.
Thank you.
And Michelle, I'm thinking that some of the issues too, we can maybe table for our internal meeting so that the Director of Operations can note some of those issues. Sure. I'm thinking about it as I hear some of the concerns coming through. Anything further, colleagues?
We do have one question in the chat. Aurelia says the impression she got was that the audit was for present students. Which year is being audited this year? So just a little bit of clarity for all.
Okay, so so we have prospective students, we have students, and we have candidates. The students who are going up for certification would have been told by their schools already, by their assessors already, because they would have done usually 1 to 2 years and would have been at the point of completing. So those are what we call completers. So if the young lady I don't remember her name, who just asked, if she's a student or would have just started, it means that the audit would not be for her. So, but the internal verification process would still be taking place. And also, for depending on the territory, they may have external verification activity as well as portfolio development taking place, but they are not complete, and that is fine. Because it's a progression, it's a period. For some territories, they do CVQ for a year, for some they do it for 2 years. So it means that if she has not been told or the information has not been shared in terms of the uploading of the areas, or depending on where she has reached, would have meant that it would not be for her. Not at this time. Maybe you were invited because you're a student and you would need to know this, get this information in preparation for when your audit comes around. All right? So, and that is for the other students who are also on this platform at this time.
All right. So Deandra is asking if she has a physical sewn sample, how will she get that into her uploaded portfolio?
Okay, I answered Deandra, but let me just clarify and say that you are allowed to take photographs of those artifacts that you may have depending on your area and place them in your portfolios.
All right, thank you for that. All right, so I'm not seeing any other questions at this time, nor am I seeing any other hands. So it would appear that we have come to the end of our question and answer segment. Thank you so much, students.
Okay, great. So as you prepare the poll, Jeanette, before we are going to ask you to say students and teachers and other stakeholders as we put up a poll as to the outcome of this session.